The Screwdriver Switcheroo. Welcome to Baby Podcast, the podcast that celebrates the hilarious, bewildering, and downright dumb things that people do all around the world. I'm your host, and each week on the Story Napz YouTube channel, we'll dive into a true story of a decision so questionable, it'll make you wonder, what were they thinking? Today's story comes to us from a man who learned a valuable lesson about using the right tool for the job. It's a tale of convenience, confidence, and a complete disregard for the instruction manual. We're calling this one the Screwdriver Switcheroo. Our protagonist, let's call him Bob, was a man in his 30s who, like many of us, had a can-do attitude. He was a handyman in his own mind, a master of the quick fix. He'd probably seen all the home improvement shows and thought, yeah, I can do that. One fateful afternoon, Bob was faced with a loose screw. It was taunting him from its wobbly perch on a piece of furniture. Now, a lesser man might have gone to the toolbox, rummaged around for a screwdriver, and fixed the problem in a safe and sensible manner. But not Bob. Bob was a man of action. He reached for his trusty pocket knife. Now, let's pause here for a moment. A pocket knife, a versatile tool, no doubt. Good for opening boxes, cutting rope, maybe even whittling a stick if you're feeling particularly rustic. But a screwdriver, that's like using a toaster to dry your hair. It might work, but you're probably going to get burned. Bob, however, was undeterred. He'd used his pocket knife as a screwdriver a million times before, and it had always worked out just fine. He probably felt a little smug about it, a little bit of a life hacker. Why carry a whole toolbox when I've got this bad boy right here? He probably thought to himself. He approached the wobbly screw with the confidence of a seasoned pro, the pocket knife held firmly in his hand. He inserted the tip of the blade into the screw's head and began to turn. At first, everything seemed to be going according to plan. The screw was turning, the furniture was becoming less wobbly, and Bob was feeling pretty good about himself. But then disaster struck. The knife slipped. In that split second, Bob's can-do attitude turned into a can't believe I did that attitude. The sharp blade, no longer constrained by the screw, went straight into his hand. The result, a trip to the emergency room, 5 Frankenstein-esque stitches, and a scar that would serve as a permanent reminder of his questionable decision. Bob, now in his 50s, says he hasn't used a pocket knife as a screwdriver since. A lesson learnt the hard way. He also has a gnarly scar on the base of his thumb as a souvenir. So what can we learn from Bob's story? Well, for starters, use the right tool for the job. It might take an extra minute to find that screwdriver, but it'll save you a trip to the hospital. And secondly, just because you've gotten away with something a million times before doesn't mean it's a good idea. That's all the time we have for today on Baby Podcast. Join us next time for another story of a decision so bad, it's good. And remember, if you ever find yourself thinking, this is probably a bad idea, it probably is. You can find new episodes of Baby Podcast right here on the Story Napz YouTube channel. If you have a story of a dumb decision that you'd like to share, drop it in the comments below. Until next time, stay safe, and for the love of all that is holy, use a screwdriver.